And joining us back here on In the Circle, she is the new assistant coach at Arizona. Of course, was a great player at Stanford, former, of course, U.S. Olympian in '08. I speak of Lappin back with us. Coach, great to see you again.
Great to see you. Happy to be here again.
Well, it's kind of unique. We're seeing you in the Arizona colors, and that's kind of my first question. Just tell me how that all came about and what's the move been like?
Uh, well, the move has been awesome. It's been a bit of a whirlwind for sure. But it's something that Caitlin and I have always talked about in the past. She was going to get a head job somewhere that she'd be someone that I would absolutely entertain the idea of working for and being a part of her staff. So it's been something, that we've talked about for years, many years. But obviously, as Coach Kendrea's career was winding down and things started to progress with that towards the end of the season, it was something I had to seriously think about. Whether it was a move I wanted to make. She's a no-brainer to work with, but deciding whether I wanted to take the leap and dive into this to this level and this experience. So it's been awesome. Like I said, it's been a whirlwind. I'm actually currently in the office transition mayhem. So if you were to see beyond my screen, you would see Taryn transitioning out, me coming in, a whole lot of chaos. But it's been great. I've had 2 recruiting trips now. So I'm getting settled with that. I've been able to see our commits and just get a real sense of what my world's going to be like here. So it's been awesome.
You mentioned it, though. I mean, obviously, with Mike Kendrea obviously announcing his retirement and then Caitlin Lowe being promoted to being the head coach. Once that was announced, in your brain, you're thinking, oh, boy, yeah, I'm going to get a phone call here. Because we've talked in the past when you've been on before. Obviously, you were happy at what you were doing at Missouri St. Louis. But at the same time, wow, what an opportunity.
Yeah, I had to really kind of self-evaluate going probably for the last 6 months or so, just if the time was right to make any move. I've been really, really fortunate to have had a really great coaching path so far that I've been able to balance, have personal life balance, but also work with student athletes who understood balance and really loved the game and competed on a high level, but also, had other things going on in their lives too, and had a different appreciation for the game. When you're not at the highest level with the biggest budgets, the student athlete experience is different. And I think that the programs that I've worked with have had a great appreciation for the game. And so yeah, I think I spent, the last half a year or so really thinking, okay, Lauren, are you ready? Is this something you want to do? And then, yeah, at the end of the season, and obviously a lot of the talk during the World Series about Coach Kendrea retiring, it was kind of waiting for that phone call to see, all right, are we really doing this? So, and then from there, it was just kind of bam, bam, bam. So yeah.
How about the fact, too, you get to go back to the Pac-12? That also had to be an added bonus that not only you get to coach with Caitlin and obviously at Arizona, but it's in the Pac-12 where you played. I mean, you have obviously great affection for the league.
Yeah, I really do. And I've been in the Midwest for the last 12 years, so I feel a bit removed from it. And obviously Pac-12 Network has not provided, as many opportunities to see the conference on TV if you're outside of the region. So to get back further west and get back to this conference that I played in. There are so many women who are involved in the conference and specifically coaching our sport in the conference who I played with and against. And so it kind of feels like a homecoming in a lot of ways, getting to work with Caitlin, who we're longtime friends, longtime teammates, being around Coach Kendrea, who I was so fortunate to have played with USA for a handful of years, and then closer to my family and just back in the Pac-12 and diving in with a lot of coaches who I either played against while they coached or played against while we were both players. And so it's pretty exciting getting back west and getting into the Pac-12.
And obviously, Caitlin very well, but one of the other reasons I think you made this move is you believe at her as a head coach a lot. What makes her such a great coach? Because you know her well. I mean, we'll get into that. You guys go back to the Olympics in '08, maybe even before that, right? How long have you two known each other?
Yeah, actually, I could show you some funny pictures of when we were both peanuts playing travel ball against each other. We probably have played against each other or played against each other from like age 10 through college. And then we finally were able to be teammates on USA and then as well on USSSA Pride professionally. So that's really where I got to witness her determination and her focus and her knowledge of the game and her love and passion for the game up close and personal on a daily basis. But I think to answer your question, the biggest thing is that she's just a great human who has a really good understanding of what this is about. So while she's, an ultimate competitor and winner, and she always is going to try to win, that will never outshine her commitment to the student athlete experience and how important and transitional this period of time is in young women's lives. So I've made a priority, and I've been lucky to work with coaches who understand that, and that's their compass. And she is another one of those. So that's the biggest thing, is just her groundedness. She's just a great human, and then she's also just an incredible competitor who's going to find ways to win without forgetting about what it means to be a college athlete. So, and then further, I mean, she was coached by and mentored by the greatest our game has ever known in Coach Candrea. And so what I know and what I've said to a lot of people is just that he would never have turned this program over to someone he didn't believe in, really carrying on the tradition, but also making it their own as well. And he has ultimate faith in her. And so that, I think, would give anyone faith to just jump on board with her leadership.
Let's talk about you, obviously, what you will bring to Arizona for those Wildcat fans that are going to be tuning in and things like that. Describe your style of coaching and what you hope to bring to Arizona.
Well, I would say my style is that I'm a student of the game. I just love the game. I'm super passionate about it, and I think that if you walk up to a practice that I'm involved with, you're going to see that immediately. That I just have a great passion for the game, and I'm pretty high energy, probably borderline obnoxiously so. But so I think that that's kind of like my DNA as a coach. It was as an athlete. I'm a bit more cool and collected than I was as an athlete. But I love the game, and it comes across in how I coach. As far as a technical side, I was an infielder and catcher. And so that's immediately kind of what I'm going to take over as far as responsibilities go. I'm going to dive right in with the defense and the infielders and give the catchers the attention they deserve. And we so often forget about as coaches in our sport. I think the catchers usually get kind of, oh shoot, did we do anything with the catchers today besides have them toss us balls to hit fungo and catch in the bullpen, So we have a great young catcher. We're going to have Deja Mulipola back to help us out. So that's going to be awesome. So we're excited to give them the attention that they deserve and take our catchers to the next level. And then also the defensive side. So,
well,
yeah.
And I remember, because people asked me once Caitlin was announced as the head coach, who would she bring in? People were speculating who would it be, and I'm in my head, I'm thinking, Laura would kind of be perfect for this gig. Like, it just makes a natural fit. I didn't know you'd be interested. No, because from the defensive standpoint, I thought it just makes perfect sense. You know each other, but your mind for the game of defense. You were a great defensive player. You know how the game of defense works. Just talk about the importance of defense, because that gets lost sometimes. In softball, people always talk about hitting coaches and pitching coaches, but nobody really brings up the defensive aspect of the game, which a lot of times decides the game.
100%. And our game is so offensively focused, and that's what has made it more and more exciting for sure. But now you're seeing the athleticism that's required on the defensive side. And anyone who watched the World Series, there were numerous, probably this series more than any other, just phenomenal defensive plays that required athleticism, but also situational defensive plays, slower developing defensive plays as far as cuts and relays. So that's been really fun to see our game develop. But yeah, I think that Coach Candrea always said it too, is just pitching and defense wins championships. And that, I think, will forever be the case. Our game will change and evolve and develop on the offensive side in a lot of different ways. But if you can have a fundamentally strong defense who's confident to make plays, I think that is the difference maker when you're trying to win a national championship. And so I think that my ability to coach defense is one of the reasons, I was a phone call for Caitlin, but also I understand Coach Kendrea's philosophies. I've played within his system, and that is the foundation of my coaching philosophies, while still having, my own take on some things too. So I think it'll be a good transition for the program and the athletes who have already played for coach to be able to have familiarity with some things that I do without just kind of flipping the defensive side up, upside down with someone else coming in. So I think that that'll help make it a more seamless transition too.
Well, not only that, you've played against Mike Condrea-led Arizona team. You've seen him up close. You've and now you're going to be joining the program, so you probably had a lot of more familiarity than a lot of people would have from the outside, right? Like you know what Arizona softball looks like. You know what the expectations are, but you know all that. Like so for you, it's probably an easier fit than somebody else that's coming from somewhere else. They're not used to that.
Yeah, for sure. I think the familiarity as a competitor and within a system certainly helps, and it's funny because I used to have ultimate respect for the program, but also, kind of like a chip on my shoulder. Like you always want to beat Arizona. And now I'm like, heck yeah, like it feels awesome to be on this side of it and like, let's go, So yeah, I think just the whole program and what Coach Kendrea has built, being able to have played against him, play underneath him, will certainly kind of help me, especially in this first year diving in with the program and the defense.
How was it meet the players? You mentioned the good talent you get to work with. That's another plus of the job too there.
Yeah, I mean, the talent is incredible. And what Caitlin and Taryn have been talking about since day one is just how awesome of a group of individuals they are too. So I'm excited to get to know them as people and competitors, and certainly to work with them physically on the softball field. But we've kind of been like all over the place. So I've met a couple in person, but I can't wait to get in the same room as the entire group and for us to just, move forward. So I couldn't be more excited.
How well do you know Taryn? I'm sure you have known each other a while as well, and because I'm fascinated. I've known both of them. I've had both of them on the show, and they're so fascinating because they're different, and I think that's why I think it's a great fit from a personality standpoint. I'm curious how you fit into that personality style. Are you more like Taryn? Are you more like Caitlin? And kind of your thoughts. Obviously, getting to work with Taryn.
Yeah, I'm super excited to work with Taryn. I think that she is someone who has made the transition from player to coach so well. And, I always played against her. I didn't know her very well, mutual friends within the business. So I've spent time around her and talked the game with her. And what I love about her is she's just like completely authentically her, and she is very real and honest. And I think that I'm excited to see how that the players respond to that, because I imagine they do. That's what I've heard as well. So as far as who I'm more like, I think I'm kind of a dead split.
Yeah.
Caitlin is like serious award, just she's super focused. She's really, really funny, but she is just like, let's go, determined, driven, organized. Taryn's like, undercover, funny, like a little bit more aloof. And so I think I'm kind of dead split of both of them. I can be serious and organized and focused, but I also am a lot like Taryn as well. So yeah, I think it'll be a good mix of personalities. I think we'll be able to connect with, our entire roster in different ways and pull different things out of our players. So that's fun. But it's been fun because we think about the game in a very similar way, but we come to it from different angles. So it's been fun already just in the first month to talk about the game and to sit and recruit with each other and see, what we're seeing on the field and dialogue that. So,
sure.
And then I just think we all love the game. All three of us just love the game, and we love coaching too. So, and kind of giving back the experience that we all had in college to these student athletes and helping them, get prepared for the rest of their life. So I think, yeah, we're all on the same page as far as that goes. So it's been cool to dive into this with the two of them. I've known Caitlin. I knew Caitlin coming in much better, but Taryn, it's been so seamless and comfortable, and it felt natural right from day one. So it's been awesome.
Well, and I think the great thing about this staff is you all kind of you'll take things from each other and be better as a coach. Like when I've talked to Caitlin and Taryn, they both talked about how they learned some things coaching together about the other that are like, you know what, I should be more like that to help myself as a coach for whatever traits and things like that. But they're not afraid to kind of listen to the other person. And I would imagine that's going to be where you're going to fit in nicely there, because you could throw ideas out. They'll listen. They might pick things from you, and you might pick things from them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've have great familiarity with each other, but we've never coached in the same system, me certainly. And so that's going to be fun to kind of bring some new ideas in, and then see how that kind of creates our brainstorming and our dynamic and plan for as far as the game goes. So it's already been fun. And they are purebred Arizona Wildcats. And so they're excited, I think, too, to get a little bit of a different look on things and different experience. And they've been in the system. Taryn's coached outside of it a little bit, but to get a little bit of new blood in here, I think will be cool. And it'll be fun to bounce things off these walls and see what happens.
Did you always want to get into coaching as you were playing? Was it something that just kind of happened? To kind of explain how you got into coaching after because you even started looking into coaching, I think, when even you were still towards the back end of your playing career, right?
Yeah, I right after, actually 2 weeks after the '08 Olympics, I moved to Chicago and worked with Kate and Carol Drohan as a volunteer at Northwestern. And so and then I played for another 5 years after that professionally. So I was coaching while I was playing, which was extremely valuable. But to answer your original question, when I was young, I really had no idea. I just loved the game. I loved playing the game. I loved playing all sports. So when I was at Stanford, figuring out what I was going to major in was tough, because I didn't know. I didn't have one thing that I wanted to do, So I was interested in a lot of different things, and I was so focused on my playing career that I didn't really think beyond that as far as like maybe I'll coach. But that being said, my dad was my coach growing up. My mom was extremely athletic. My uncle's a 40-year baseball coach. My dad coached softball, baseball, and football. I kind of come from a family of coaches and educators. And so I think it made it a natural transition for me from playing the game to coaching, but also it was a passion and, something that like, oh, wow, like I can actually do this. I could teach the game, not when I'm done playing it. So, and then when I coached at Northwestern and then at Roosevelt, which is where I started with Amanda Scott and then went to UMSL, but at Roosevelt, I was still playing as well. So those like 4 years while I was still competing and coaching, you see the game just through a different lens, So being able to coach student athletes at the college level and then still be playing, it gave me different perspective on my own playing career, and then how I wanted to lead young student athletes as well. So it was extremely valuable, that overlap period of time when I was figuring out that I wanted to coach while I was still playing. So now I can't imagine doing anything else. So hopefully I'm all right at it and I can hunker down and be a coach for a while. But I love it. I think that coaching at this level, the college age athlete, is just so cool, because you're with them for this 4 to 5 year period of time where they're figuring out who they are as humans, what matters to them, the people that they want in their lives, and then they get to play softball, a sport that they're passionate about along the way. Is a cool opportunity to be on that journey with those guys. So I love it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy going to work every day as a coach. And then also I take extreme pride and responsibility in being someone who's helping them catapult to the rest of their life. So
your journey is so fascinating. You obviously played at high level, Stanford. You play obviously pro. You played internationally with tons of success. You've coached at lower level colleges. You've coached in the pros. How does all of that experience help you in this particular deal from a recruiting standpoint and being able to relate with the players, from the top players to maybe the players that are overlooked? You probably have seen it all.
You're exactly right. I have, and it wasn't necessarily my intention when I kind of like started on my path and took some turns along the way and settled into some spots for a while. But man, I feel really lucky that all of those experiences lead to who I am as a coach now, who I am as a person, certainly, but uh, really do lend me the ability to connect with athletes from all different pockets of the country, the world, and then also just different skill level. And our sport's so cool because you don't have to be technically fundamentally perfect to perform. And that, I think I started to see that when I coached at Roosevelt at the NAIA level. I'm like, this kid's swing is not, not what you try to teach people, but man, she gets in there and she competes and she gets hits. So like at the end of the day, that's what matters, so to be able to experience that and then also connect it at different levels, I think I appreciate my experiences in my path because of that. And I think that it does add to my strengths, to my toolbox of being able to look at things kind of different and see things that, others might overlook as far as skill and fundamentals and stuff like that. So, and then also just the people that I've met along the way. I mean, I was at UMSL, University of Missouri St. Louis for 4.5 years, 5 seasons, and you meet a lot of great people who support you along the way, and who now are excited for me to take this next opportunity, and so that's really special as well.
Adapt. That's to me, that's the word that comes to mind. You just described it, right? You have to adapt, which in coaching now, especially, you have to adapt, right? To all the surroundings, whether it be a certain player and how they play. If there's, not every player is the same. And I think with your experience, you of all people can probably relate to that the best of anybody, knowing that, hey, not everybody's the same. There's things that might work for this particular player that may not work for another player. So adapt is a big part of coaching now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly if you add the COVID
Yeah.
influence into the conversation, it's just figuring out how, like you said, to adapt and grow and adjust. And, one of my taglines, and some of my former players would laugh if they heard me say this, but champions adjust. And so anytime we were throwing a curveball at practice or whatever, we had to adjust things. It's champions adjust. All right, moving forward, let's go. So, but you're exactly right. I think that the ability to adjust and kind of try to see things from different perspective and different angles certainly will lend to my ability to coach our entire roster here. So so I'm excited about that.
Let's talk about obviously the Olympics going on as we record this. Obviously, we saw the U.S. is playing, and what was I'm sure you watched. What goes through your mind now as you see Kat Osterman and Monica Abbott still pitching? Do you feel like they're kind of playing for you as well in that '08 group, you and Caitlin?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Monica has not wavered since '08. She has just like stayed the course and just gotten better every, talk about adjusting and adapting.
Yeah.
Like she has had to continue to evolve her game and change her training, methods so that her body can withstand her intense Japan season and international season and pro season, all of it. So it's been fun to watch her just kind of ride it all out and keep her mission, her focus. And so, yeah, like it definitely feels, first of all, I'm extremely sleep deprived and it's only day 1 of the Olympics. So I know the entire softball world feels me on this, but it's going to be a long 8 days till those medal games, just figuring out how much caffeine I need to sustain and being able to watch every pitch of the Olympics. But yeah, it feels like they're playing for us. It feels like they're playing for, the country. And honestly, what I've spent a lot of time thinking about, and I could probably get emotional thinking about it, but that period of time between '08 and now, and how many players just by virtue of the circumstances didn't even get an opportunity to wear USA across their chest, who had the ability and had the, opportunities, or would have had the opportunities to wear that uniform, and which is so disappointing. It's the reality of what it is. It's I think about a lot of those players who missed the boat just because of the year they were born, and that is tough. And so I hope that they're watching feeling like that team is playing for them as well. So but man, watching them compete and just staying at the top of their game later in their careers. It's, it's really, really awesome. And to see all the young ones who have not, they've had a lot of international experience, but it's a different ball game stepping onto that Olympic field and that platform, and seeing them take it head on is really, really cool.
Yeah, and you played in big stadiums, right? Big crowds in that Beijing Olympics. Describe that feeling. I mean, it's got to be one of the top feelings of your entire life. That's a rush that not many people can say they've ever experienced something like that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. And that's one of the things that is the biggest bummer about COVID. But thank goodness they're still able to play and compete in these games. But seeing that big, beautiful stadium, and in a country that just has an extreme passion for softball and would have just filled that thing up. I was actually going to go to the Olympics. So Caitlin was too. There's Natasha was. We had a big group going, Megan Willis, and we were all going to be, face painted and hooligans in the stands. But unfortunately, we're not. But yes, there's no greater feeling than stepping into that Olympic stadium, looking around, seeing your family in the stands amongst just a sea of other fans as well. And it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. But regardless, getting to go in, especially after so many years without softball in the Olympics. I mean, I got a bit emotional when the game came on last night. It's remarkable that they're there and they've been able to endure COVID and all of the limitations and doubt and all of that. And they showed up with their shoulders back and ready to roll. So I'm excited to watch them the rest of the way. And all the countries. I mean, it's been such a long journey for all 6 teams, and to get to this point and stay healthy, and what an experience playing in probably one of the most unique Olympics that there ever will be.
No, but you bring up the emotions. I mean, Jessica Mendoza, obviously working for NBC, doing the sideline there. She said the minute she walked in there to their practice, it was like '08 all over again. She even posted a photo with some of the '08 members, right? Like, I think Laura Berg was on that.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Laura Berg and Taraya Flowers are on their staff. Kelly Kretschmann has been played a big role in that team's development over the last 2 years, really filling in for the college coaches who had to, take care of their responsibilities within their programs. So the 3 of them, and then Jess being there, it feels like, that's, what is that? Almost a third of, actually with Kat and Monica, it's like over a third of the '08 roster. So to have some representation from our last Olympic team is really special and really cool.
Yeah, I think that smells like a reunion coming down the road there. I feel like that has to happen. And
for sure.
Look, the Olympics will be in LA in 28. And Brisbane now will be the host in 32, 2 softball fan-friendly softball countries. So I think it's optimistic for softball. I've had Michelle Smith on. The key, the issue is Europe, and that's kind of the next step for this to just maintain an Olympics is kind of making Europe, embrace softball. I think that's the next step from a global step, because the game is blown up. I mean, this isn't a wide open Olympic tournament. Like, in '08, it was you and Japan really were the only people took seriously as for the gold. This, you can make a case for 4 or 5 countries here that would win the gold. It wouldn't be a surprise.
It really is. It's I think it's going to get intense down the stretch too. But I think it's anyone's game. I'll always put my money on USA, but I think that Canada and Japan looked so prepared last night. So, and really it's the Olympics. It's, get a couple big hits and your pitcher has a day and you find yourself in the medal rounds, and especially with such a smaller field of teams. So, but yeah, I think development in Europe, it's hard for Americans to believe after watching our sport explode here in the States. It's hard to believe that the sport hasn't done the same thing globally. And it has made extreme progress. But I think that if we can get, handful more nations within within Europe and some of the Asian countries to move forward, I think that we find ourselves in a different spot as far as the Olympic program is concerned. But like you said, having host countries that are huge softball countries is really helpful with getting this in for good.
Amen to that. I agree with you. Last question before I let you go, since we're both sleep deprived from watching the Olympics there. Give me your kind of the keys now. You're obviously in the middle of recruiting stuff. Obviously, before you know it, fall will get here, and then, the 2022. What's the keys between now and then, as you want from the players, and you as you get to know the players and they get to know you, and kind of getting better, getting ready from between now and the season? Because you don't just wait till the season starts to get ready. You got to start getting ready now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this group, from what I hear, and what I've seen a little bit, they didn't skip a beat. I think that there's extreme motivation from everything that last year was for them. Going through COVID, the really, really, really strong freshman class kind of having to sit back and wait another year because of our extremely successful and talented and fantastic leaders in the senior class. So they kind of had to wait another year. And I think that they're chomping at the bit to take the reins, and, getting a taste of OKC, but falling short, that's at the forefront of our minds. And so they basically, have hit the ground running this summer and training on their own and all of that. So I think once the team gets back in a few weeks, in a month, it'll be kind of just rolling. I am who I am. So I think that we'll all get to know each other pretty quickly, and start to develop those relationships naturally. And then we're just going to get after it and work to continue to give ourselves a shot to win the national championship. But I would say that we lost a really great senior class, but there was a freshman class waiting in the wings to take over, and they are ready. So it'll be fun. I personally can't wait to just get on the field with them and hit fungo and see what the energy is. And I know that they're going to have an incredible talent level, and just get to work with them. So can't wait.
Well, and we can't wait either to watch you all. Congratulations. Like I said, I'm really excited for you. Like, I knew once Caitlin got promoted, I'm like, man, this would be kind of cool. And then when I heard you got the job, I was really excited for you. I was excited for Caitlin and Taryn. I'm excited for all of you. Congrats again on this opportunity. We'll definitely talk down the road, and appreciate you doing this, for taking the time.
Thanks so much, Eric. Bear down.